There are lots of times where you should outsource. This is one of them.
So the big question is, what are the top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams, and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? If you ever thought about this, you're not alone. No one has been able to get the answers until now.
We spent the last few years helping agents sell billions in real estate, rubbing shoulders with top producers, which got us thinking, how can we expose more people to these insights to help raise the standard in the whole real estate industry? We then realized that we could help bridge the gap by getting the secrets from the best of the best so that you can succeed. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Elite Agent Secrets. Today we've got Katie Ledoux-Gilbert with us. She's been a licensed real estate agent for 15 years, brokered north of 600 deals. She's licensed in both Vermont and New Hampshire, so I think she gets the crown for producing in 2 different states. Currently got a team of 4, looking to grow and add more people, more deals this year and next, as everyone should be. Katie, thanks for jumping on with us today. We can't wait to dive into your secrets, which are being a knowledgeable agent, client relationships, and coaching. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And I also definitely love to wear a crown. So even though you can't see it, everybody should be thinking virtually that I have it on. Yes, I'm licensed in both states. Our Vermont and New Hampshire are very close. In fact, I live in the birthplace of Vermont in Windsor, and that is right across the one big long bridge, which just happens to be the longest wooden covered bridge in North America. And so that connects myself in New Hampshire. Technically, as soon as your toes step in the water, you are in New Hampshire. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So before we dive into your amazing topics, we would like to figure out and know what got you into the real estate game. What did your life look like before you had 600 deals under your belt? Take us back to day one.
Sure. Love to. So never truly had an interest in real estate until it kind of dropped in my lap. I had actually gone to college in Rhode Island for hospitality restaurant management. So I loved that. I loved the idea of working with people. So I think that kind of tailored this. But I pretty much realized as soon as I was finished college that I was maybe not going to want to work in New York City to make that kind of money. And I really was pretty sure I was going to end up back here in the New England area. My ex-husband was in the military, so we were in North Carolina for quite a while. And when I was down there, I did some consultant work and helped open some cafes. So I did that for a while, liked it, but knew that if I was going to get to a point where I really wanted to live the lifestyle that I wanted to live, I, may have to live somewhere else, a higher end place. Wasn't really what I was wanting to do, but I was still doing it when I came back to Vermont. And while opening a new cafe and managing that, I had just had my second child. So she was just a baby, like little, 3-4 months. And she used to actually come to the cafe with me. So this is what, small towns. And, if she started to cry while I was working, people would just pick her up. Like, this is just how it was. Like, they'd be like, oh, I can get her for you. Awesome. And so a local real estate agent came in to the cafe every single day, got a chocolate milk. So this was a coffee shop. He always got a chocolate milk. He does not drink coffee, still probably doesn't, and a chocolate chip cookie. And anyways, I knew him. We actually share a set of aunt and uncles, just the opposite sides of the family. So I've known him forever. And he just eventually came back in and said one day, like, this is probably like 3-4 months into him coming to the cafe. He said, you have a great personality. You should be doing something else. Have you ever thought of doing real estate? And at that point, my ex-husband and I had kind of talked about maybe flipping a little bit. It had been a discussion when he was still in the military, and only because everybody did it. It was like, that was I actually remember watching the infomercials on TV. I'd get so sucked into those, like, buy this program, you could make millions of dollars flipping real estate. But I was just an infomercial junkie, so I would have bought anything. I'd actually never bought one of those programs. I just never, because it was so expensive at the time. I was like, I'm not doing it. We don't know what we're doing, whatever. We're like 20 at the time. So Anyway, so he asked me to come on board and he gave me a pretty good package to get started. He said, like, I know you can't leave a job where you're making money and make no money. So come in, be my assistant, be the office manager is what I actually think I was. That way you can learn, and get your feet wet. So pretty much from the time I agreed to do that, I got my license within 1 month, and I got licensed in Vermont first. And I was actually one of the fastest ones to ever do it because I took the course, the 40-hour pre-licensing course. And then I finished the course on a Friday night, drove back to the same neck of the woods in Vermont and passed the test the next day. So I
were serious about getting things going.
I'm like that. If it's going to happen, I'm going to do it. I don't mess around with that kind of stuff. I tend to be a procrastinator on other things, but not when I'm goal oriented. So I got it. So I got it very quickly. And then of course it just takes a couple weeks to put it together, but got licensed pretty quickly, but he agreed to pay me for 6 months as being the office manager. So I had to be there, 40 hours a week. If I needed to leave for a showing, it was fine. So that's how I kind of jumped in. I was always in restaurants, and then it just came to me.
That's a totally different path to anybody else. We've had people that have dived in, but they've always gone full real estate, full commission,
right out the gate.
Out the gate. So you got, I would say, let's say a little bit of a gentler kind of ramp into it. You got paid to kind of get in. So
I did. Yeah, it was very helpful. It's how I actually think every agent should start.
To be fair, I think I would say more people would do it, but more than enough people already do it. So I'm not sure if we need more people. We need better people because there's a lot of agents, but there needs to be more good agents. And we've discovered in the limited time of production here, doing what Peter's been about 3 and a bit months. You never know because when these go out, right? But let's say in 3 months he did say 5 million, I think, in production, give or take a few $100,000 here or there. And it's like his clients had been overwhelmed with like, this is an amazing experience. And it's like, no one else is treated us like this. And yet for him, it's a standard. It's like, well, what? Hey, hang on. It's not like he's gone above and beyond. It's just like a standard of doing good business. And it just goes to show that a brand new agent in 3 months did 5 million, and his goal was to do 10 million this year. And, it looks like if he continues at this rate, should surpass that pretty comfortably in his first year, actually on the production side. I think we're doing it to prove a point that it's like we can do one thing and just do it very well, and you could make 6 figures, which is again what we're here for. Now, what I really want to know though is how many deals did you do in your first year?
I should know that. I think that I closed like between 25 and 30. It's been so long and what I will get to eventually in topic number 3 with the coaching is that I never tracked anything until 2 or 3 years ago. But I did track as I got going and was doing really well. I had a goal of wanting to sell 50 houses. I didn't track sides. So if I had been doing it appropriately, I would have hit that before because I had lots of double ups, but I wanted to sell 50 houses. And that had to have happened like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago anyways, probably 6 maybe. But I always sold consistently like 25 to 40. But the best part about my first year was this, and this story is fun, so I like to tell it. This is like whenever I get asked to go to the schools for career day, this is the story I tell because this is what excites people. My first I was like literally had been an agent for maybe a few weeks. Every showing I was going on, which wasn't a ton of them, mind you, because I had to be given buyers and just kind of the extras and whatever. Those are the people, I love the extras. They're my bread and butter. So they're the $100,000 buyers, 15 years ago, now the $150,000 to $200,000 buyers. But I was walking into the office on a Saturday morning. So I had the Saturday morning, shift, and I had just picked up the newspaper. We all know how much print advertising we all do in newspapers. Well, we did a ton back then. And so I always picked up the Saturday morning newspaper to see what new listings had come on. So I was walking in the door, 8:01, phone is ringing. I pick up the phone. I don't even have stuff taken off. Like I haven't set my purse down, nothing. I have the paper in my hand and a guy calls in and he says, hey, My name is John, I think. And he said, I'm looking at the paper right now, and there's a property called the Ascutney Overlook. And I am a very good bullshitter. And I was like, oh, I know the property. Not a clue. I am like quietly folding over the newspaper to find what a Ascutney Overlook. And I'm thinking, I don't even know all of our own listings, much less anybody else's. It's not ours. It is Robert Wallace Real Estate, who was a very well-known broker. He's now retired. I absolutely loved him. He'd been in real estate like 25, 30 years at that point. So it was his listing, full page ad. It was listed at 1.25 million. Now, mind you, I have been shadowing my boss on $120,000 houses. And I haven't even thought about $1 million listing. Anyways, we scheduled the appointment for Tuesday. My boss goes with me. We take another walk around. A second time, he makes a cash offer of 1.15. That was my first sale. 1.15 million cash. Jesus. That was my first deal ever.
Wow. So this was, okay. So basically what happened is you got the taste for blood, like a shark 5 feet from shore. And you were like, okay, I kind of like these 30 grand commission checks.
Back then it was only 15, but it was still in that split ratio. But what's even better, and it's better in a lot of ways. It's better because, again, I never gave up on it. I haven't sold $1 million house since.
Really?
Yeah. Because that's not our market. There are $1 million houses. And this year is my year to break into luxury. But it was not ever my primary focus. That was just kind of a luck of the draw. Like, again, the guy, he liked our website, which is so funny because, again, that was back when websites were kind of just becoming a thing and you could line up searches and stuff. So he liked our website, which is why he decided to call us. And at the closing, he knew that I was new in real estate. And because, again, my boss was coming along to stuff. So we sat at the closing table and he said, is this your first $1 million sale? And my boss chimed in and said, actually, it's her first sale. And the guy was like, oh my God, you're so good. He said, you're going to be great at this. And he said, I'm taking you to lunch. So he took us to like the most high-end restaurant in the area for lunch that day, rather than us take him out, which was what was the planned thing. I still remember what I wore to that closing. I drove home from Maine because I was on vacation at the time, and I drove home. So that morning I left at like 6 a.m. from vacation to come home for the closing. And then, I up until like 2 years ago, I still had those shoes because they hurt my feet so bad. I never wore them. So they were like brand new.
You should call the guy back and be like, you were right. Yeah. 600 deals in, over 600. Like, you were fucking right.
I was just about to say the same thing. Got to give him an update.
I know. It's so funny. But, I've sold several $900 and something $1,000 ones. I've had $1 million listings that sold for just under. Like, it's, it's not as though it's not right there. It's just amazing. Really doesn't matter. So it's kind of fun. I'm not disappointed by it because brokering 600 deals means I've done pretty well. So
you've done pretty well. Speaking of which, I think that's actually a nice roll into being a knowledgeable agent, right? Which is the first thing you kind of wanted to discuss. And we've seen a lot of this with extremely high producers like yourself, where I want you to unpack it. For me, when I hear the topic of being a knowledgeable agent, it also coincides quite nicely with niching and like understanding market and avatars, and they all kind of work together very nicely, where it's like, I service this type of people, or I service this area, or I service certain listing styles or buys. It comes in different guises. We've heard it a lot. So I'd love for you to unpack what you mean by being a knowledgeable agent.
Absolutely. So I say all the time, I want to be the knowledge agent for the area. I want to be the person that someone thinks about when they have a question, any question. And that does not just mean real estate. So I want you to ask me where I get my hair done, because trust me, nobody has short hair. So I'm always getting the wait, who does your hair? Like, no one ever goes short. I'm like, it grows back. It's just hair. Mine's been short for a really long time. Or where do I go on a trail run? Or where's the local dog park? I don't care what it is. I want you to text me. I want you to call me. I want you to Facebook message me, even if you've never been my client. So that's what's important to me. And so I obviously live in a particular town, and I actually own a house in another that I lived in. My partner's mom still lives in that house. So we just came back down here because this is where my kids go to high school. So it was easier to have the landing pad right in town. So that's what I have been really pitching in the last 2 years is we branded ourselves with Kate & Co. So I do work for Keller Williams in Vermont. My parent company is up in Burlington, which is a busy area. UVM is there, the college, University of Vermont. It's a nice central hub. There's quite a few colleges there. So it's got a lot of transient students and whatnot, but it's a lot higher end than some of the towns around myself. Although I do have Woodstock, Vermont, right, which is where my main office is, like the one that I go to. Although I say all the time that you're looking at my dining room, like I'm in my office, like right now, if I'm not in my car office. But anyways, so the thing we've been really focusing on is making sure that people know who we are. And so we branded ourselves as Kate & Co. And I actually was still with Remax when we branded that. But I started to work with somebody more in the last year once I'd gotten with Keller Williams to really put together my color scheme and the words that I would use. And we have the ampersand, which is the and. That's what you see. That's the logo you see. And that's what I want people to like remember. And so if you see my sign, it's black with brown and white and cream. And it's really sharp. It is not, I will be honest, and my dad is very old school and he's like, where's the white sign? He like thinks that you can't see it. And I said, Dad, everybody's online. That sign is just there to remind people who I am. If they see a sign, they're either going to know the house is being painted, it's got a great maintenance crew, or it's for sale. And the only ones that are metal are usually the real estate signs. I said, people are savvy enough. They'll slow down. Like, it's just funny how the mentality is of it, but I wanted it to look a certain way, even though it's not the typical white real estate sign. I love it. It was probably the best money I ever spent branding myself, because not only was I doing it for my business, but it felt like it gave me an identity and an identity that I could give to my team members. Because up until 2.5 years ago, I was a solo show. I was closing 50, 55, 60 houses a year by myself. No database, no nothing. Was I good at reaching back out to my sphere of influence? Yes, but I knew them. These were mostly people that I really knew. I hadn't got into a lot of advertising. I was just doing very well. I was very good at being busy. So great agent, but not great business person. So when I branded the Kate & Co., I started to go online more. And I go to all the conferences, everything that I can do education-wise. That really should be topic number 4, but I'll slide it into this one. But you've got to learn. We do not know everything. There's always stuff to be learned. And I get so jazzed up at conferences. So I go to everything that I possibly can if I can fit it in. My kids are very busy. They're athletes. So, if I can make something work, I'm going to do it. But I learned very quickly that the biggest thing, and you guys said it at the beginning, it's social. It's social media presence. And it doesn't, we were kind of joking before the podcast started that you don't have to be the best at anything. You just have to do something. Just stop sitting here and doing nothing and saying, oh, I really want to learn how to do reels, or I really want to go live, or how do you do that, Kate? You're so good. I like to talk, clearly. I haven't let these guys get a word in edgewise, but I'm okay with that. I love it. I am fine on camera. I am good with improv. I don't mind if I screw up. I don't mind if you see me without makeup. I'll make a comment about it. Don't get me wrong. You're getting the best version. I say, I have the abbreviated version some nights when I'm like, I got my wine, I have a sweatshirt on, but whatever. I haven't gone live. So I'm real to people. Like, they see the real me. And that's been huge. And I get so much influx. So I challenged myself on my last conference that I would go live 100 times. I had attempted to do it 100 straight days, but life gets in the way. And sometimes you just get to where you're like, shoot, it's 10 o'clock and I didn't go live. Well, I'm not going to go live at 10 o'clock in my bedroom. Like, I'm just not. So I said, look, I'm going to do this challenge. I'm not going to give up. I wasn't disappointed because I'd screwed it up and missed a day. I think I missed day 9, like right out of the gate, I'd screwed it up, but it was fine. I said, we're just shifting it. I'm going to keep going today. When I go live, and I am going to go live today because I put the full face of makeup on. It'll be day, I think it's day 48 or 49. So I just go on and I say, hey, this is Katie Ledoux Gilbert, Team Kate & Co. of Keller Williams. I'm your local Vermont and New Hampshire real estate agent. I say, I'm your local. Means I'm right here. I'm in all these towns and people know the Upper Valley. If you're listening to me, or even if you're not, those are keywords that people will recognize. And then I say, this is Kate & Co. keeping you in the know. That's my slogan. And the keeping you in the know, there it is, the knowledge agent. And I tell them something. Is it what teams are playing tonight? And I don't always just do Windsor where my kids go. I talk about other sporting events. I give credit to teams that won. Again, I'm a big sports fanatic, so that's the thing that people will notice. But I also talk about where the local Christmas bazaars are. And I had a fantastic massage with so-and-so. And that guy, since I've done that, has gotten like 5 clients. Great. I love that. People messaged me after and said, what was his name again? And I quickly shoot him a message. They're not even clients of mine, guys. Like, they're not. They're just Facebook followers. So that's what I do. So I just put myself out there. It can be anything, but it's just being in front of people.
One of the things that you've mentioned, this is kind of off topic, but it's not. It's actually, but this is really, really important. I don't think we've actually had someone, we haven't spoken about this like specifically, but you've mentioned this very specifically. So I actually want to draw attention to it. You said you were with Remax, you made Kate & Co. You're now with KW, you're Kate & Co. And this is one of the things that we've seen with all top agents and teams. Every single one, right? And this is the difference between like a scarcity kind of mindset where people buy into like brokerage loyalty when the broker doesn't give them loyalty back. And what it is they feel like they're KW, right? So they go out and they're like, but I've got the KW branding, blah, blah, blah. And then what you realize is like all the top agents and top teams, they've got their own branding. They just happen to be with KW. They're their managing broker, right? Or, like us, we're with EXP, could be with Coldwell, it could be with anyone. But we've got our own completely individualized brand. So let's say in an imaginary world, because we love where we are, but in an imaginary world, if we left, it would make no difference, a bit like with you. Because you left for Remax and you were Kate & Co. And then you joined KW and you were Kate & Co. This is something that's really important for everyone listening. When you create a brand for yourself, which you're allowed to do, and if you're with a brokerage that don't allow you to brand yourself, get the fuck out of that brokerage.
Right.
ASAP. But like, this is what top agents do, people. It's like they brand themselves so no matter where they go, they don't lose anything. Also, the thing that's really important, which a lot of people don't realize, is people don't do business with brokerages. They do business with people. So when you think they only did business with me because they were with KW, because you're with KW, you are 100% fucking wrong. That's just a limiting belief you've got. That is just a limiting belief. And, that's something that you're going to have to overcome. Like I said, thousands of times, Katie said she was with Remax, Kate & Co, KW, Kate & Co. This is the plan. Always make a brand for yourself. It means that you have ultimate versatility. And then in another world, if you wanted to go and set up your own independent brokerage, you've already got branding. It's already done because it already existed from years ago.
And it made a big difference. It felt really good. It felt like the next step, the next level. Like, just, guys, it was like a few grand. It was not, and I'm sure if you're tech savvy, which you guys don't know, you podcast listeners, but we had quite the go around trying to get me on here live, or not even live.
I always say, High check, low tech, high check.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that, and is it, guys, is it okay if I say who I used for branding? Because I think
Do whatever you want. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So, Peter, I'm glad you're back. I used Nick Lovegrove, who is Limey Boy, Limey boy. And he is just absolutely a doll. I can't say enough good things about him. And again, and he put forth 3 different options for me when we were talking about branding, like the whole look. But what I was surprised about, I think, was that he took a long time. Not like it took 2 months for him to get it back to me, but he took a long checklist of things. He wanted to know everything about me, from my favorite color to what color my eyes were, kind of thing. Like just every single detail about who I was, so that he could put forth. And each of the brands, the whole scheme that he put forth, was amazing. And I loved each of them. And I think there was like angels on the shoulder. I was like, ooh, that's me a little bit. And that's a little bit me. But that one that I chose was me all the time. So, and I'm actually, it's so funny because I am literally like dressed in like the look of my, the black and the tan color. So it's just funny. It's what you're drawn to, but I saw it and was like, yeah, that's it instantly. So guys, make sure you get branded. If you can do it yourself, do it yourself. But there are lots of times where you should outsource. This is one of them. Find somebody who knows how to do logos and how to brand.
One of the things that I have a question for you is, I don't know if the audience picked up on this, but you did 50, 60 deals just working your database that you didn't have initially. Do you attribute first of all, how are you doing that? And the second part of that question is, do you attribute your branding also for them to know you and recognize you when you do reach back out to them as part of the outcome that you've gotten?
Well, I think it's kind of 2 parts, because the 50 and 60 deals was long before I was anything more than just, at that time, Katie Gilbert. And, and I threw the Ledoux in. This is why, because Ledoux is my maiden name. Gilbert was my married name. That's my kid's last name. So that's why I still have it. I am not married to their dad. He is remarried. But I've kept it but I threw the Ledoux in case that were to ever change, that I could still be Katie Ledoux something else, right? So in the back of my mind, I was branding myself even that way by putting the Ledoux in. And that's actually when I went over to Remax, and that was, 7.5 years ago. That's what I made them put on my business cards. They printed them wrong the first time, and I was like, nope, you got to redo it. I told you I need the Ledoux in there. But right now, as far as the Kate & Co goes, that I think we'll see that come back and really be noticeable, as far as the people recognizing, and I can send anything to them. They won't even notice if I'm with KW or if I'm on my own. They'll just see the Kate & Co. In fact, truthfully, most people think that I've gone on my own, because they see the brand and they're so excited. I got so many messages when people started seeing the signs. The KW is there. It has to be bigger than the Kate & Co portion of things, for advertising purposes. But they thought that I had started my own. So, which was great, because you know what that prompted? Conversations. Just conversations. So to answer your question, Peter, it's really more like, I think that that's going to be to come. I think that I just was well known enough in the area, and I got out there and created topic number 2, fantastic client relationships. Did you see that?
Roll into it. Let's roll.
Oh my God. I would actually argue, before we go into topic 2, is that the way you brand yourself is how you run your business, how you create your client relationships, and most importantly, how you serve and the experience you create, right? Because it's part of your brand, part of who you are. And if you can communicate that on a piece of paper or through colors or the way you present yourself, you can also communicate it effectively once they experience it. And it's almost like, okay, you have a high-end luxury type of brand. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to sell $1 million listings. You could have a $1 million experience in a low price point because of the brand and the experience that you provide. So we'll give you the floor.
I know. I want to add in something actually just as well on the first one, just to kind of wrap it up, because being a knowledgeable agent, and we've kind of gone into brand, because I actually think they coincide with, what you were saying, based on the fact that when you're a knowledgeable agent and you have a brand, you also then get brand recognition, which means that when people see your stuff, they're like, oh, I knew that. They associate that brand with that thing. So if they associate now Katie & Co with being knowledgeable in the areas, this is another thing. I mean, just anyone listening right now, if I said Coca-Cola, what's the color that instantly comes to your head? Right, Coca-Cola, right? Just think about it. If I go Ferrari,
but you also said Coca-Cola. What kind of soda you think of? What kind of car you think of? There's certain brands. Yeah. What kind of watch are you wearing? What's on your shoes? What's your athletic wear, right?
And then on top of that, not only, I mean, let's say you've driven Ferrari. I've been fortunate, I have.
Not
bastard.
I know.
I've driven a few actually. I then, not only if someone has the name and then the color, I also have the feeling of when I was driving them, and then the association. So like, this is all to do with being knowledgeable and branding and like recognition all tie in together. And this is a compound effect. Like, Katie, you've been doing this now for, really rolling into 2 decades soon. This isn't branding isn't something that happens overnight. It's something that takes time and consistent. And you also, the one annoying thing about branding and customer experience is it can take a lifetime to build. It can take one day to destroy.
Yeah.
So you've got to be really fucking careful, because if you can have a brand that's everywhere, and if something bad happens, like we've seen this with huge brands where they get outed over one thing, and you've got this huge, like Goliath just gets, completely destroyed what it seems like overnight because of one mistake. That's the downside of a brand. It's not a big enough downside to not do it. It holds you accountable to being a good fucking human being. So here's the thing. Basically, if you're like some scumbag human being and you do a shit job, then your brand you'll always be crap, because your brand, everyone will just associate you with being crap.
It's also something that follows you around, like you're saying.
So it's a beautiful thing, because it actually helps out bad people and it helps improve good.
Oh, and by the way, would you consider yourself a maverick? Are you an agent, team leader, broker owner who's constantly striving, pushing boundaries and smashing goals? Well, we've already helped over 100 agents cross $100,000 and up in GCI per year. So if you're interested in learning more about our courses and coaching to help you scale your business, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com.